when people come to me, they're like, I want a healing. I got to do this. I got to do. This is all really cool, but I don't really need to be that concerned by your name, your age, your this. It's really not important, because when you understand you are the universe, it becomes instantaneous. Hi guys, welcome to the podcast today. On today's podcast, we're going to go over understanding subtleties that might come from your intuition, a deeper understanding of how you create the foundation of leveling up in your consciousness, how that is brought to you through your own experiences, through words, symbols, numbers, letters, and it's realized within your physical body, and really getting a deeper understanding of this oneness that we speak of. And it's so important to create that foundation. So we go through all those things on the podcast, and then even after that, make sure you stay to the end. We'll go through an exercise that will rev up your engine, blow your mind, and realize the power of the energy that is inside you. Thanks again, and enjoy the podcast. Welcome to the Consciousness of the Way. High Priestess Jade, my co-host. Howdy doody.
Howdy doody. Good morning.
Good morning, and I am your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master San Quinn. Top of the morning to you. What a profound day it is, as always, with the realization that you are the universe is you, and having a greater understanding of that. Mm-hmm. And of course, putting all the puzzle pieces together, understanding, recently we've done quite a few podcasts with some incredible guests. We've been on other people's channels, and sometimes it's a nice reminder to realize how grateful we are for a deeper insight into reality as we know it, and that just comes from our teachers. We went and took a little looky-loo down here in the old, Sin City in the Stairway to the Stars. Stairway to the Stars. And I think this was the first time that they actually had this particular event outside of California. Normally it's California or somewhere else, and they were told to do it in Vegas, probably because I had an inclination that I felt like I wanted to see what it was, and poof, there you go. That's what we call manifestation. But in any case, it turned up in Las Vegas, and we were like, we should definitely check that out. Interesting. It was really, all the OGs on the channel, all the people that are familiar with Latsu, what we bring with live healings and all that kind of good stuff with, the Way 126 experience, all the stuff that primes you, your sensory perception. It was almost like there was something missing there. Mm-hmm. A lot of people. There was one particular guy that I'm not too familiar with, but he had a huge following, and he was, the big card drawer, whatever. A lot of people were very interested to see this guy channeling his teacher, or the spirit and energy that guides him with his consciousness in this realm. And, what I did notice was, just a lot of stuff, a lot of people, but it was very contracted. And, from, doing this over 30 years, normally what I would experience is, it's kind of like this getting high for free, you know what I mean? That's kind of like what these type of experiences are normally like. And I found myself really having to jumpstart any sort of expansive sort of really evidence of something. And so, there were a lot of booths, a lot of people selling their stuff, but they seemed very contracted. And so that to me is quite strange for anything to do with, energetics and healing. You sort of, it's as if you're walking into this, age of Aquarius, rippling, expansive, like energies that are brought in. Everyone's just a gateway of consciousness, transferring of consciousness at a higher frequency. It's really beautiful. And that wasn't evident here. Yet we could go outside of the actual, what do you want to call it, expo, event. And just within, I got to tell you, we might have to do a couple of little things here on the channel for the Luxor, because that's quite interesting.
Mm-hmm. That energy, just the casino energy, not so much the casino energy, the building energy.
Yeah, and this is a really interesting realization for us and for me especially, with what Latsu was telling me in relation to the direction of our channel. Oh. So I think we're going to start doing a lot of those where we actually, maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks we go out and we explore these spaces, and then we give you a real rundown of the energetics, the different profiles, what we're experiencing within that space, and the types of energies that are occupying the very, matter that you perceive within the space itself. So, within Luxor, the grounds that it was built on, it has an incredible, very interesting history. It's quite evident there's quite a lot of people that were, through certain means, buried there. I think not of their voluntary
consent.
Consent and willingness, but even deeper than that, and that's just present just with the probably the organized sort of like things that have been going on within Vegas in the since it's really sort of built itself in the last 50, 70 years. So, and that could be a reflection of certain organizations that will remain nameless that have had a need to use this as a place to remove certain types of people that were possibly interfering or obstructing their ability to conduct their business as usual, if you know what I'm saying. And even deeper than that, then we go into deeper layers. So, of course, there's a tremendous amount of, indigenous activity from, specific tribes that occupied this space. And then, we go even deeper, there's frequencies and vibrations of like, dinosaurs and other entities. I mean, it's really quite something. And quite frankly, this was more an epiphany for me. And I mean, Jade hasn't even heard about it. Just sort of, Latsu was like, hey, you should definitely do that like 5 minutes ago. Is, we were on a channel. I did an interview on a podcast called Bizarre Junkies, and they tend to go out and they conduct these field tests to validate and verify, other paranormal sort of like stuff that sounds really sexy, just the name itself, using certain types of like meters that can measure electromagnetic fields, and more, an adjustment of an EMF or something of that nature. Sounds kind of cool. But that was a great podcast. Those guys were really fantastic. And, we gave them a little dose, a level up of the Tao and what's possible for sensory perception. And I could see they were surprised, pleasantly not so sure, got into a little aura dipping. And some of them were a little not so sure about what that's like to have someone be able to read their mental emotional state and they've never met you before. And that's just part of understanding how to cultivate these energies. And that's what Jade and I, that's what we do. That's what we do here on the channel. That's what we do. We help people acquire this sensory perception. And, that sort of like translates into, our incredible app that gives you a crash course into, creating a mastery, a baseline of your emotions, and then, of course, going on a journey that will, validate your energy centers right up to 108, which is much deeper when you understand sort of like your connection with the universe and how that all works. And then, we're bringing out an actual training healing system that people can instantly, get lit up. Mm-hmm. And lit up in the sense that you will gain access to this portal that will give you, pure source stuff. Now, of course, refining your skills and whatnot, that's, more leveling up. But, if we were to be more conventional, because this is a word that's thrown around, Kundalini, awakening, healing, whatever you want to call it, this will give you that on steroids, like immediately. So whether you're, discovering it, and that's why we put it in a package where you purchase this, because you want to be looking for this stuff, because a crash course on this stuff is like putting your finger into an electric socket. So unless you're looking for this, you probably don't want to, just randomly go out with the guys one night and have a few drinks and go, oh, look, I'm on San Quinn's website. I think I want to get a double. Buy. I want to get an impulse buy and double dose and purchase this portal that accesses a whole nother level of consciousness. And it says here in the description that it makes a Kundalini experience seem, infantile, and this is like on steroids, 100 times more powerful. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just want to randomly just click on that and purchase that and just go for it. No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that anyone that wants this, that's, entering into the realm of healer, is going to want to, level up with these tools. And they're instantaneous, as we show people through group healings and all the stuff that we do here on the channel. We're not playing with this stuff. And we're using ancient tools that are tens of thousands of years old. So I think that'll be kind of exciting. Maybe we should start with Luxor. I'm not sure. Because it's, an incredible, it's very powerful.
It is. And I was just thinking when you were talking about the podcast with the Bizarre Junkies, and it's like, it is. They use lots of tools and lots of, frequency meters and stuff like that. And really what we're doing here is getting you to realize that that's all within your own body. You are the tuning fork. Mm-hmm. It kind of just hit me. To feel, where,
whoa,
but it's like, it
just clicked, even though you knew that.
I mean, I know it because everything we do is a feeling, and everything we do kind of has a feeling, or we react to it in the feeling standpoint. But that is kind of the point where your whole body is this tool where you're picking up, all of these sensory perception things. I was watching this thing with my kids the other day about whether they wash their hands the right way, and they put like this like lotion that you can see in a black light, but you can't see just normally. Mm-hmm. And to see if someone, how they wash their hands, germs, all kinds of germs and stuff. And it's kind of like that. Mm-hmm. might not be able to see it to the naked eye, but when you all of a sudden look at it with the black light, and then you can see all these like places you missed washing your hands or these germs, that's kind of this level up of your sensory perception. All of a sudden you're looking at everything kind of, I'll use the metaphor with a black light, and it's like you're just seeing these frequencies, these energies, these vibrations through the advancement, leveling up of your sensory perception, and going, oh, that looks amazing, so clean over there. Ooh, let me hang back from that area because that's a little sticky icky, and I'm not interested in going there. But this is very much energetics, and that and whether you're seeing it visually in your third eye, whether you're hearing it, whether you're feeling it, this is all part of this, evolution of your consciousness, and gaining access to that sensory perception that's always there. You're just now unlocking it.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of stuff going around. If you're like just awakened right now in 2023 with the idea you want to, you have a sense, or your intuition tells you want to start doing, alternative healing, i.e., most powerful access point would be energy itself. And you're looking around, you're finding stuff, and of course, your intuition brings you here to Jade and I, and you're listening to our material, you're getting excited, you want to level up, you're doing some of this stuff. Well, if you don't have a true sense of who you are, which happens quite often because, everyone's on their journey to finally tune themselves, you get to a point where it's confusing, it's overwhelming with the amount of material, and
what's real and what's not.
Well, yeah, what's real and what's not is really your perception, right?
Yeah.
So people kind of limit it. Like, for example, on the Bizarre Junkies, there was like a level of, they came to a point where they couldn't really process how I could read their information. So in the end, throughout the podcast, they kind of like discerned it and sort of put it in a category of just behavioral analysis. And, one of the guys, I didn't see more than a fraction of a second. And when I was giving him his reading, I couldn't see him. And that's really not that important. So when people come to me, they're like, I want a healing, I got to do this, this is all really cool. But I don't really need to be that concerned by your name, your age, your this. It's really not important, because when you understand you are the universe, it becomes instantaneous. There's no filter or, the idea that you insert yourself to have to validate, I'm focusing on this person to transfer energy, is another, separator. So it removes you more from the oneness that we speak of, that's really accessing a 5D reality, and you sort of become a part of a mechanism that's not really efficient. You're going to get a result, but it's not going to be the one that you're looking for, because you're so much a part of the process, instead of being at one with all. So I'm not asking myself, if I'm truly recognized as the universe, I'm not going, hey, universe, I need to help, Paul Johnson. I need to transfer energy to him. And, this is where people get kind of like, they're like, well, how does he do it? If we're doing a group healing, they get an incredible surge of energy, and I'm sitting there with my eyes open. I'm talking to people coming into the room, and, but there's the amplitude, just kind of like now, it's an amplitude. It's a realization of that. And I'm able to just access that frequency instantaneously. And this is part of the mastery of Qigong. And so Qigong, in definition, is moving energy with your mind in any direction equal to or greater than in infinite amounts of place, person, or things. So when that happens, it's like, oh, hang on a second. You're, whoa, that's a whole new definition of multitasking. And so, and this is sort of like, as is, you can't define it more without coming to an understanding that you have to create an awareness of your electromagnetic field. Mm-hmm. And so this is part of how it becomes even more valid for you in your own journey and experience when that is realized, When your electromagnetic field is realized, then all of a sudden, attention, intention, the universe, it becomes instantaneous. And so that translates from a manifestation to a healing to magic, deeper understandings of magic. And that's where you sort of come up with, profound experiences. And then as a human, you validate those from a confirmation of it being realized in a 3D reality.
Yeah, I kind of, when you describe it like that, I kind of visualize it's almost like a live X-ray. Mm-hmm. So you're just looking at this X-ray and the energy, you see it like an X-ray. Okay, this is a little broken. This is a little excess. Here's, this big energy here, excess energy here, maybe more, less. And that's how you kind of see it. Mm-hmm. And then, but in the sense of it's like it's live in the sense that you can go, okay, Mary, you have excess energy in your heart right now. Let me send the frequency, remove that, pull that down a little, pull the sadness out, fill it with some love in a higher frequency. And so it just looks like an X-ray, but you can manipulate it with different frequencies and stuff. And that's kind of, when you describe it, that's kind of how I visualize it. Mm-hmm. That you're not, it's just all sitting in front of you. Mm-hmm. It isn't like, it's like, Mary, did you go to church on Sunday? Mary, are you divorced? Mm-hmm. Do you love your children? None of that. It's as mm-hmm. if you're looking at, like, the energy is just there. The kind of, whoever the person is, it's irrelevant in the sense that you're just reading.
Well, it's part of, it's like part of coming to that realization,
right?
That it's there, because, and that's one of the powerful things about the Taoist practice is, people confirm this all the time, that it's always there,
right? And
you're feeling it, and you're constantly feeling it, and it never leaves you,
right?
And that's part of the training that we offer to people, is leveling up that sensory perception, and then realizing that, if it's here today, it'll be here tomorrow, and it never leaves you. And, it's just accessing your neurology and how you perceive your reality that you obtain. I am the universe is me. And then, even more so, it's like, Jade said, oh, you fill this up with love. Well, that's not even part of the equation, because it's just a high frequency. And mm-hmm. so the high frequency envelops and encompasses all things. And that just so happens that some of the profiles of these frequencies and energies could come into a category of love or healing, whatever it is. But once you get attuned to that, it happens instantly. So, if I was to really sit there and start going, oh, I need to send this energy here and that, no. And that's why people sort of like, they freak out when I'm doing a group healing, and they're like, oh my goodness, I've got this, and I'll be like, bang, it's gone. And because I'm not going into the detail, but then I can explain to them, well, it's going to dissipate from, you've got this trapped energy in what you see as your head. It's going to dissipate, move down through your arms, out through your fingers. They're like, my goodness, it happened exactly like that. I'm like, I'm just witnessing the exit of whatever experience you're having instantaneously. I'm not like sitting there attempting to find stuff. And you kind of, as you start to level up your senses, whether it may be from just acknowledging energy to more subtle profiles that are everything from psychic abilities, clairsense, medium, channeling, however you want to say it. It starts getting you become one with it. You can see, like, I've done this for so long. It's like when you're sitting there and you're talking to someone, or they're attempting to feel their way through their own awareness. And, a lot of the green behind the ears newbies, which we've all been there. We all started somewhere. They tend to go, I'm getting a sense of feeling that something's here. Now, there's that level of, seeing and hearing things, or just perceiving things like that, where you're feeling your way through to get validation from the person you're healing or working with. And then there's a level of just, you can tell that the person who is more creating sort of a predatorial sort of way of, creating, they don't believe what they're doing. They're just sort of like, they've realized that they can take a moment of someone's emotional vulnerability, which if you're emotional, you're vulnerable. If you're emotional, it's suggestible. And then they sort of use that, and that's where you get the psychics. I'm seeing you're a person, a male, old. And then it's kind of like what a lot of hypnotists, illusionist magicians, it's called cold reading, where they're just sort of playing with, generalizations that are going to at some point hit a marker for the person that they're operating with, that gives them, a hit. And because a person that's sitting there wants to come to, Clarita, the local psychic, they already have this sort of like rapport, a sense that they want an answer, so they're going to start, being receptive to this sort of like
process.
Yeah, it's like a process. Whereas what Jade and I do is, I'm not invested in the outcome of the information. I just share it with you. I access it. I share it. I'm not going, oh, do you feel this way? Are you feeling like this? Does this make sense? I might say it doesn't make sense once in a while, but generally speaking, I just give it to you. Mm-hmm. And people are like, what the? Mm-hmm. How the hell does he do that?
And that's not to dismiss the mastery of it at all.
No, not at all.
It is one of those things, like you said, though, that it's like you are such a master and you have created such a mastery that it just is now. There isn't kind of this like this build up, or this like step by step. Okay, I'm ready. It really embodies everything that you do, everything that you see, everything that you interact with, that it's so a part of you that you're, it's just like, incredibly tangible all around you all the time, because it's like within you. It's like your skin or something.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like you. It's an interesting way that Jade describes it. It's an acceptance of a level of consciousness that is my reality.
Right.
And so, and it's kind of a level up. It's for, and this is what I've realized for so many decades helping people with this stuff. You have to feel it,
yes,
to validate something that you may get in your mind as, a vision, a sound, an experience. The feeling is what validates it as a human being. And when you get that feeling, then you level up. then you start to get this whole sort of like tangible path where you, every time you experience it, it gets stronger because you are refining your nervous system to make that possible. Every single time you do that, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger, as it should be. So, realizing that that's part of the mastery is to increase the strength of it, so your sensory perception. So, many years ago, it's been decades and decades now, but, you watch a master, and I say this just because that's sort of a generalization for, say a Qigong master or a priest of some kind from any sort of, and I use ancient Eastern methods because that's what I'm very familiar with. And, as a Taoist, that's what we train. That's our affinity with the universe, and our sensory perception training is second to none, in my opinion. Am I a little biased? Sure. But I can bring it and show you. So what does that mean? When you see a Qigong master and they do things, whether it's implementing the internal alchemy within a martial form or just a healing or doing something that's a little bit more esoteric, which is, what you would perceive as impossible, a feat of impossible acquisition. Well, what does that mean? It's like, a Qigong master might take, a long knitting needle and, create some type of energetic field which has many different levels of how you perceive it, and then pass it through their forearm to show you that it's possible to pierce the physical flesh and not draw blood and not experience pain. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like a validation. Now, is that a little extreme? Perhaps to most people, but it also has you stop for a minute and go, holy moly, I think I'd be screaming, I'd be in pain, I'd be in the emergency room. And so it's like a step of confirmation that you get from witnessing something profound like that, or generating heat, or experiencing a healing, or, and this is all from someone's perception of consciousness, and they master it. And what I can validate to be true is, as you continue to cultivate these skills, it becomes faster and faster and faster. Something that, any of my students can attest to this. Something that they may have started with that has a foundation that may take them, half an hour of training. Within moments, that same access of that energetic consciousness will turn into something that may have taken them an hour. Within a week, they're doing it in 30 minutes, or in 2 weeks, they're doing it in 15 minutes, or in, even faster than that, because I tend to fast track most people that, they go from 0 to 100 instantly, as it should be, because that's what energy is. So you become more efficient at that connection. So you enter the ether, the 4D, 5D consciousness immediately, and like that rolling heat and expansion that we just received just here. It's just part of my sensory perception, and it then transfers over to your experience as you're interconnected with witnessing this.
Yeah, no, it is profound, and it's definitely exciting to go through the process and just like realize, and sometimes it's almost unrealized, where it's something that you're like, I've never thought about doing, but let me see. And then all of a sudden you're like, I had no idea I could bend spoons. I had no idea I could, because you're just at that high frequency. You've already kind of created this training system within you, that it is just you, that all of a sudden you're like, well, I've never really consciously thought about doing it. Let me do it, and it's just done. And that's really cool to see.
And that's part of your mastery.
Yes.
You know,
100%.
part of you being the master keeper creator of your reality. And so all these building blocks are so important. That's why we developed the app. That's why we developed a training system, a healing system, because you want to level up and acquire all these sensory perceptions. And you should, as a human being, you should be absolutely conscious of your power, your eternal internal power.
Yes.
And that's what Taoists have been doing for tens of thousands of years with our mastery of the inner alchemy. And so it comes in all different forms, but it's kind of like when someone does a group healing, and they kind of enter the room, and they kind of, like, okay, what's going on? This guy's talking, and I'll just be like, welcome to the room, inhale and exhale, and you're going to instantly realize the frequency of the space, and people freak out. They're like, well, what was to that? Did I have to sit down and hold a certain mudra, chant a certain,
what did I miss?
Hold a certain mudra, chant a certain mantra, sit in a certain position, and I just instantly tapped into that. Well, that's part of my mastery, and you're accessing that, so you instantly obtain that, and you're never the same. You become more sensitive, and that's part of the interconnection of the universe as you are the universe, and then we're tuning your nervous system, and now it's leveled up. It's like, holy crap, not that I would use the Matrix, and Neo is like looking at the red pill or the blue pill, where you took the red pill, blammo, and all of a sudden you level up. And that's how it should be. It should be like a profound, treat your experience within this stuff like a Hollywood movie. Like, I just discovered Aladdin's genie bottle, and I popped the lid off, and the genie came out and said, "Hello, master. You have 3 wishes. What would they be?" And I mean, your attention, intention, your immersion of your imagery, your imagination, is the beginning and end of the gateway to your limit or limitless sensory perception. It starts with you, it ends with you. Your truth is the only truth you need to be concerned with.
Yeah, it's just like when you go to like a concert or a football game, and everyone is just so excited, and it's so easy to spark a conversation with someone because they're all in tune with this, yeah, let's go team, or oh my god, I love this song, I love this, oh, she's my favorite artist. It's like that feeling can be replicated all the time because we're always connected. It doesn't have to be just in that environment of that 50,000 people at a stadium or a concert, or whatever, even just like your favorite yoga class where you go in and everybody's just perfectly in line with each other. It's like we're all connected all the time. That doesn't just have to be an event-based thing. And when you level up your sensory perception, you start really tapping into that and realizing, I can connect with whatever frequency I want. I can connect with that, supercharge of everyone's so excited and cheering and resonating on the same level. And I'm just sitting at home, with my dog hanging out.
Yeah. And that's part of the neurology and understanding that. The inner workings, the information energy highway, that is, it can be replicated in so many different ways. I mean, this symbolism, the symbols, the signs, the sigils, all these things, as we talk more about them, that your DNA is layered with numbers, words, letters, symbols. These are all integrated deep within your DNA. That's why you resonate to them. But something as simple as your neurology, when you remove what you consider the physical flesh, you come to a realization that it has an extremely similar visual profile to a lot of images that people have acquired over thousands of years. They use that as a reflection of something like the tree of life, things that you go, whoa. I guess if I look at the nervous system and then I look at the tree of life,
or the
there's
uterus.
a correlation, and the uterus, where we talk deeper about that, and how powerful that is the entry point to the universe, and that's also part of the Blammo access point that we're offering as a level up for your training. And if you just want to have the most profound magical experience one time, you buy it for one time, but I could guarantee 1000% whoever starts with that first module of accessing your energetic body, having your equivalent to what people have called the Kundalini experience, but times that in steroids by 100, you're going to have a level up like you've never seen before, because this is ancient stuff. And of course we use, ancient, sacred geometry and other things that become realized. They're tangible. Just been talking about it, you feel the rippling effects as density building. Just in you being bearing witness to this video, and I'm speaking on it, you can feel an energetic shift instantaneously, an amplitude like you've never seen before, because that's real. And then you validate it, so it's, whoa.
That's a feeling.
That's the feeling we talk about, that kinesthetic charge, that realization. So, the uterus, or more commonly, people would recognize it as the universe. What are the chances of that? And understanding that that's why it's so sacred. And, we can go over the test of time, and you can come to a realization that within the realm of man, it's quite clear the evidence of removing the power of the feminine energy, moreover, the feminine form or female as a human being has been recognized within, human history, that there's been an absolute, attempt to remove the power of that feminine energy that acquires that pure source access. And, we realize it through, ancient scepters that we use, being the Ryu, Ru-Yi, the double-ended definition that has been rewired, because that's what Taoism does. It's never as it seems, as it always should be. As we quote from the first scripture of the magical register of the Tao Te Ching, the way that can be walked is not the way. And that's with everything. And you should realize that. And the discernment is your way that can be walked is not the way, is when you believe your emotions control you. That's always the baseline. That's why the way 126 is so powerful. And now we've got the healing system to be the Salmon-Yer pairing of all these things, because you have this consciousness that you acquire through all the stuff you get out of the way 126, and then you add the training system to go deep into healing at all levels. And you have a pairing of this incredible journey of awareness that you acquire. It's second to none.
Yeah, and I mean, it's really funny because that you say that, because 400, 500 years ago, the kind of like, I would say the Taoist advisor equivalent to like the emperor, but like in the, the chief was always the grandmother. And she really had the most kind of expertise and understanding, even though they might have had like a chief or, a leader, because she understood how to reproduce. That was her, that was like the ultimate superpower, was this grandmother who, it's like she understood the feminine cycle, how to have a baby, how to be a mother, this whole thing. And that knowledge and power, when it wasn't super accessible 500 years ago to most people, was the most important thing for that village or for that community, for that indigenous ancient tribe, is that understanding.
Oh yeah, and that is a power, superpower, that has been, the human being has been removed from that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you talk to people about the creation of life, and they're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
The just the presence of a conception to birth of a human being is a miracle.
It is a miracle.
And it's sort of like the sum of that. People say it's instantaneous, but I can tell you that's, there was a development from the seed of what people would consider the Big Bang, or what moreover would be the creation of all things, which is the universe is you are the universe. How does that work? Well, on a much deeper level, the creation of all things come from, the uterus realization. But then let's look at this. What's the cycle that really comes within the creation of the universe, and then we start paralleling, constellations, and then we start paralleling planets that are parallel to our nervous system. Everything is inside us. The length of time, that's why the Taoists always reference the power of 9 being the highest point, is, what does it take to create a human being? 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
You can't make this stuff up. And so the relevance of that would then be moreover an understanding of the complete creation from the Tao, the mother of all things. You can't make that up. That's how we speak of the Tao, as Taoists.
Mm-hmm. Mother Nature.
Right. People seem to forget, and then they start categorizing it within their own perception, and that's beautiful, because your truth is the only truth you need to be concerned with. But I can promise you, the more and more we speak on things, the more and more you're going to come to a realization that this makes absolute sense to you. And
gives you that feeling.
That revelation of the creation of all things comes down to 9.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we go deeper and deeper and deeper into these facets of understanding. And so within Taoist rites, which is basically the seed or entry point for anyone that wants to level up, either to just have your Kundalini equivalent to, which we call the evolution of, or the creation of the universe. You want to call it Kundalini, you want to call it a creation, but that seed is realized as you turn on your energy body through this portal and this system that we've created, and it's second to none, and that will be realized. So, we look at these things at a deeper level. You have a greater understanding. We're revealing more and more of the information as we move through the process, and that's what Taoism is really about: accepting and allowing all things. Wu Wei, effortless action, effortless effort. This is how it's realized. And so it goes against Taoist understanding of all things, goes against this, got to work hard to create it. Now you look around, it's very popular right now, motivators, millionaires, billionaires, they all tell you, you got to work hard. No one's going to hand it to you. Sure, that's your perception of your reality. If you truly embody Tao, and just like our dear friend of the channel, a friend of mine, E, from White Armor, who we recently had on our podcast, his whole life changed when he embraced the Tao, the mother of all things. And he truly encompassed what that means, as he put it, to be done by the Tao. Which, when you start breaking down the simplicity of Mandarin and the communication that we have, things are on face value. We're not, when you start to decipher what the translation of Mandarin is into English, we're not having all these fancy words that have been diluted or transmuted into other, definitions of something else that could be Latin, could be German, could be English, could be, variables. That's what English is. It's kind of a mishmash. Kind of like, English is like a jambalaya of language.
Yeah.
And you kind of like get bits and pieces from it, whereas how beautiful Mandarin is to me, and it's my heart, and it's been with me for thousands of years and hundreds of lives before this one. It's an understanding that it's really simple. You look at something, it's, at face value, it's not like an intricate, detailed definition of what something is. It's kind of like, car is sort of like, machine with wheels. This type of simplicity,
Right.
we're not attempting to create the complexity and a definition. So I could assume, just as I'm on the journey of acquiring my Mandarin fluidity, I would assume that someone looking at English would be,
Wildly confused.
confused and kind of give up. I'm like, I don't even know what to do with this stuff. It's like, this is not how my world works. I come from a background, a language that is quite simplistic. And we're going to add that, like I said, we get drawing to the end of the year, and I'm going to feel more comfortable, and I add it to the channel. We'll learn words, we'll learn how to draw in, because this sort of entrees into us getting a deeper understanding of talisman and how powerful they are, and these images, these symbols are so powerful, or someone would call them sigils. This is what you want to acquire, and when you have a deeper understanding, this stuff resonates. Like the pit of your stomach that's sort of like oscillating right now from this energy is all due to frequency that I'm transmitting, and it's coming directly from the three pure ones. And you're like, what the hell is going on here? So, sensory perception is everything, as Jade and I have validated. And understanding that all these things are symbolic to you in one way, shape, or form, and you will resonate them because they're deep within your DNA, and that's where you validate and you move from one thing to another and decide what means something to you. Or, I've found a lot of people recently that become very conflicted.
Yes.
And this is sort of part of what I bring. When I bring those frequencies, you have a moment of realization. And I normally share them with people and go, look, I'm kind of like admitting a frequency, vibration, and energy that is quite high. I just want you to understand that. So, you'll have sort of two things go on. You'll either be gravitated to it or you'll be repelled from it. And, there are moments where people become repelled from these frequencies because they refuse to acknowledge what's really going on inside them. And I can do a reading on them, I can tell them all these things, and it's really crazy because when I speak to them on this stuff, they literally, it's like, they pretend like, oh, he doesn't know that he can read, but hey, he can't read, but like, even though I've validated it many times, they know that it's been experienced. And so when I share it with them to help them understand the conflict that they're going through, and then how they're repelled from the very journey they're on, and that this is is symbolic of just a message, like, clairvoyance 101, intuition 101, understand whatever you're repelled from is, you need to move towards, because it's a clear indication that your subconscious, unconscious, your intuition, your guides, the universe, is giving you a clear path to a revelation, a elevation of your consciousness, and that's why it's propelled, because we're operating at that point. You're operating in a duality. You are not one with all, and that's just part of the journey. At some point, you'll acquire that if that's part of the inner workings of your journey within this lifetime. But if you're not, you're always going to be polarized and magnetized or repelled by things because of this understanding of duality, which is, up and down, in and out, left to right. And, from an electromagnetic level, you have positive and negatives, which will draw or repel you. And so this is going on all day long. This is happening to you all day long. And if you just take a moment and just go, I just heard Jade and Sifu talk about this. Wow, my life really is kind of like that, because it's happening all the time. You're constantly being given, messages of how to, move through your existence. Yet, it's being deflected or not being acknowledged and recognized, and because you're not aware of it. And that's where it's sort of like there are no coincidences where you come to Jade or our Sifu's channel, or you're listening to our material, whether it's a podcast on Spotify or here on this channel, or something that we've done in another channel. Listen, it's a message that you need to be here right now. It's a message that this is your opportunity to open your level of consciousness and level up to some profound shifts in everything that you know to be real. And that is instantaneous, my friends.
Yeah, it's kind of like at that moment where you find what you would consider in a duality, like a trial, tribulation, something that is, not ideal, and you haven't come out on the other side of it to realize, oh my goodness, this event, created who I am, or created this incredible strength that I didn't know I had. We love as humans to be very comfortable. We like being comfortable. We don't like adversity. We don't like being tested as much.
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because instinctually, humanness in of itself would be the complete opposite. I feel what you're recognizing, Jade, is more the limitations that have been generated over the last couple of hundred years within, mankind, the earth.
Right.
Something more present that we can reflect on. Let's just say American history, the last couple of hundred years. It's quite evident that there is an active, body of people that are attempting to limit your perception of your reality through certain processes that you get exposed to, and you don't realize you're taking on these things on an unconscious level, and your mindset, your perception is becoming more and more limited as you continually move through this process, and you don't even know it's happening to you.
No. And you kind of stay in this very comfortable environment, I hate my job, but I've been at it for 12 years. It's like, well, why don't you go get a new job? Well, I'm comfortable. I hate it every day and it makes me feel miserable, but I'm also comfortable. I hold on to that comfort more than that to me is less than the change of actually finding what I truly want or truly need or what's going to excite me. And it is a limitation, instead of this knowing that I can do anything. Anything is possible. I can create anything. I can become anything. I can develop anything. And like you said, I feel like there's sometimes where people get very attracted to us because they get this like excitement where they're like, oh, I finally found that power that I didn't know I had. And then you get people who are like, I hate you because you bring up all of this stuff within me.
Well, that's their perception.
That's
I
their
assume
perception.
That's where the catalyst, where this is fairly true. The frequency is evoking a response within these people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that we're consciously poking at you, going, "Yeah, you need to work out your daddy problems." No.
No.
It's a frequency that evokes the stagnation and the deep-seated compression of these emotions within your physical body. And when that is rattled, they raise to the top, and then you identify
Mm-hmm.
as the place, person, or thing is the reason why I feel this way.
Right.
And that's the mistake. That's the deception. That's the misdirection. That's the manipulation that human beings constantly go on that journey.
Yeah. And it is. It's kind of like a really hard workout. You're like in it and you're like, oh, I hate this. My body hurts. My muscles hurt this. And then you come out of it and you're like, wow, I know I can do that now. I'm so excited. I have this euphoric feeling. I have all these endorphins. I feel amazing. But through there is a little bit of that energetic process too when you're kind of getting rid of it, where sometimes you're like, ugh, this doesn't feel that great. And then you come out the other side and you're like, wow, I'm glad I went through that, because now I can really be who I want to be, shift into the place I want to be in, open my consciousness where I want it to go. And, even though at that moment it seems, difficult, hard, struggling, frustrating, all of anything that you can think of on that perception. And again, this all comes back to mindset. It all comes back to your belief system, your perception of your reality.
Right. And just like Jade said, it's like, okay, what does that mean? The biggest misconception and misdirection is, let's just break this down to simplicity. If you are the universe and the universe is you, that means you're all things, right? Being all things. That means that all things mean the present moment. That is the culmination of past, future, and present are right now. That's pure consciousness, okay? And so the misdirection, the deception, the manipulation is you believing that first and foremost you are of this body, and then we lean on all thoughts of your mind are yours. Now these are other misdirections, and then moreover, people start deciphering things, and there's a lot of stuff going all over the place where, certain signs are going to allegate a certain response. Now that is your perception of your reality, whether it may be, i.e., a color per se that would indicate a lower vibrational frequency. You would then have to identify that. When you start discerning these things, you're like, well, this is good, this is bad, and you're using emotions to do that, and you're going, well, I can decipher it's better this way, it's not in that. You're still operating in a duality. You're still operating using emotions to control you. So then that is the lying and misconception, because the universe has no moral compass. The universe is the present moment. That is the profound mic drop, blammo, that if you take this right now at face value that we reiterate over and over again, and we reinforce, we remind people this is a powerful moment, that you can access that consciousness, step right into 5D and above, which would be equivalent to being accessible to all things and being able to alter a 3D reality from that, all bets are off. It's that simplicity of what you're listening to Jade and I speak on. But the emotions, and you discerning that, a color identifies as this, and that, when you're at this frequency, this is obtained. This is all still an operating system called duality, which keeps you separated. Okay, understand that, know that to be true, and that's okay. But realize that if you want to acquire a high level of ascension, that you can affect change, that you are the universe and the universe is you, all things are the present moment, then, and the universe doesn't have a moral compass, then all of a sudden your personality your perception, all those things and above be nothing. They're not evident. They're not present. They are just all things. And you are all things. So you're no longer a title, you're no longer the sum of your life experiences, you're no longer any of the above. You just are now. And so you don't ask yourself, then this is where you get profound healings. You're not asking yourself to heal something or someone or yourself. It just is. So people, kind of freak out. It's like, he just thinks it and it happens. I do. I think it and it happens, because when I say I think it, I'm not thinking from here. This is a projector. This is gray matter. This is nothing more than that. This is the commander-in-chief receiver, and consciousness is all things. So you know when you're there, and your validation will be a confirmation of an experience, a manifestation, a healing magic. And the more and more you remove the emotional content, you remove your personality, and you are one with all things, you're no longer operating in duality. Oh my goodness, this color means the devil, this color means angels, this image means this, that, something else. When you are dissolved of all this symbolizing of a certain type of energy, because all energies are the same, they are all one.
Everything is energy.
And so that's the lie that you're being laid into. That's the lie that's manipulating you, is you identifying as this separator. And that's just something that's a huge, big mouthful that a lot of people listening to this will have to take a moment and digest and watch it over and over again. This is the whole point. Well, you will validate. When you hit that sweet spot, that frequency, and you're all things, you'll witness a healing. You'll witness magic. You'll witness manifestation. It will be instantaneous, because that's what it takes. And it'll be an epiphany. You'll be listening to us, and it could happen right now, listening to us, or you might have listened to us for months, and now you're listening to this, and boom, here we go, I'm right there. Or you take away from this an acknowledgement conceptually of it, and it might take you a couple of months, it could be next year, and boom, oh my goodness, it just happened to me. It was just realized. And it all comes back to that simulation, the feeling.
The flow.
Yeah, wu-wei.
Effortless action.
Effortless action. All rivers run back to the same, ocean, right? They run back to the same thing. This is a realization coming from the Tao Te Ching that is so powerful. That, separate are really collective, are singular, are oneness. This is all the same. It's all one.
Yeah, or none.
Or none. That's right. But when you realize there's no moral compass, I like chocolate ice cream and watching horror movies, that's great. That's your personality. When you can shift gears from that and be the universe, you can have, as they would put it, the best of both worlds. Because the best of both worlds, deeper in that expression, means all things.
Yeah.
Ooh, seafood.
I know, I've never thought of it that way.
Right.
Now I do.
And now you do, and it's like a mic drop and go, holy moly, seafood. My mind is blown. Yes, you're welcome. Because that's what it means. And so it's like, whoa. Oh. Or you can do this. And this is another acknowledgement of attempting to deceive you. Another expression where it creates a seed of guilt, right? But this is really another expression of all things. Have your cake and eat it too. Oh, it's like created a shadow of this emotion of guilt that you want everything to be as one. When you realize that, oh no, we need to draw you back into this duality. We were operating as one, but now I need you back in the duality where you are separated. And people almost are like, this sounds like some big conspiracy. Well, yeah. And that's where you start going down that, and you discern that and dismiss that from a personality perspective because that seed was already created. Being, oh, it's a conspiracy. And conspiracies being, you're crazy. And that's really like a social norm that has been generated after the last 40, 50 years. And it's all been created from one seed that gets dropped into society, and this rippling effect that then all of a sudden you're using that expression, you're a conspiracy theorist, and you don't even know where you got it from. It just reared its ugly head, as you would say, and it's transferred into your translation and your perception of your reality. And people are like, whoa, seafood, that's crazy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it is.
And that's why we get back to the importance of the feeling. You are the tuning fork. Rely on that message and that information as your validator to what it is that you're looking for, not these external forces influencing you to perceive things a certain way, to limit you a certain way, to compartmentalize you a certain way. Find that true access, realize that it's within you, and then let yourself and your understanding be that truth teller to open yourself up to what is true source, what is pure source, what is my source of information, not, all these external forces, confusing, what I validate as real, as a feeling, as the flow, as the universe, as God, as Jesus, as anything that your belief system pulls you and gravitates towards you.
100. Mm-hmm. It's like this profound incantation from the Jade Emperor. A power abundant in its giving you will receive, unifying the body with the spirit with the energy, bringing heaven to earth, transcending all as one. One is all. Creating perfection manifest. That is your gift. That is your offering. That is your gift. That is your offering. That is your gift. That is your offering. The present moment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you can play that back. That's a very, very powerful incantation, and it summarizes all things.
Yes.
So perfection manifests as you.
Yep.
You are perfection. What if I am you and you are me? What am I afraid of? Nothing. People are using the human being as a distraction, and they're here on earth to, work out karmic behaviors of the past. Again, another perception of a duality. Realize this. This is another distraction. When you become one with all, that is no longer even on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
When you realize that.
It's so funny when you say that. I instantly have this image of like when you watch trees in a hurricane or in a tornado or something, and you'll literally watch a tree almost bend, horizontal, and then come back and obviously some trees might get uprooted or whatever, but you kind of watch. It's almost like these trees and these massive winds, and they just flow with it, and then you're like, how did that tree not fall, or how did that? And it's like they're just one with it. Yes, they might be bending completely abnormally, but they're just a part of it. It's a part of them. They're not. There is no resistance. It's kind of beautiful.
It is all. Perfection manifest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was quite something.
Yeah.
Those are huge.
What a way to start off the week.
Yeah, what a way to start the week out. Have a greater understanding of you, your perception of reality, and how to start to layer it into your experience, your journey, so you acquire whatever it is that you desire. And more to the point, to our exercise of the day, which is just firing it up, just immediately, because I'm not even speaking on specific parts of your physical body, but yes, is it strange to see if you can tell me I'm feeling pressure in my forehead and my chest and my stomach? Because this is all that it takes for me to process it and go, this is happening inaudibly, that you're experiencing it because you are part of the loop of the eternal awareness that comes as consciousness. And you, if you're watching this and you're a part of it, you're connected to it. You can be connected to it watching it, or be a million miles away, you can be connected to it, because you are one with all. So what I wanted to do is look to my divine delectable co-host Jade, High Priestess Jade, for any last comments, emotions, or feelings that she might want to add in retrospect to this incredible journey we've gone on today within the podcast.
Yeah, I think we went over so many things, just different things, just reminders, more consciousness awakenings, more truth bombs, more resonations, feelings that everyone can kind of pick up now or pick up later, or however it resonates with you.
Lamo. And so with that said, I would like to take us on a magical mystery ride. You're feeling that pressure already, it's already happening, and that's an infusing of that energetic charge that comes with, it's good to be me.
Yes, please.
Right. And so, again, as Jade has lost the sensory perception, you can close your eyes if you choose to, or keep them open, and you can feel that percolation of that energy. And we're just going to do some OG basic stuff. We're going to breathe in through our nose, sip it, a small sip. Actually, it's going to be through the mouth. And it's going to be a short breath in, a long breath out. This is going to be realized within the upper dantian, short breath in, long breath out, middle dantian, short breath in, long breath out, lower dantian. On that last one, when you breathe out, you're going to hold it. I'm going to count it down from 9 to 0, and that will transmute itself into a condensing of energy in through your whole physical body. And as you're acquiring these skills and you continually level up, this becomes more realized, more instant, and you can reflect on that or realize that from your journey. Okay? Again, another day in paradise. So without any further ado, let's do this. So I'm going to take a breath in into the upper dantian. A breath in, middle dantian. Last one, breath in, hold it. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Oh, guys, you guys have leveled up quite some. Just hanging out and allowing that, Lamborghini engine to rev up under that hood of that Pinto is being more realized by the second. And this is part of what we speak of with the training, that we just get you to be highly sensitive and attuned, and the sensory perception translates into your very experience, and of course the energetics, because that kinesthetic charge is the validation that it is real to you. And that super chill charge that we got that last one, oh yeah, baby, that was profound, as always. And with that, anyone listening in the distance or more in the space that we're in, I want you to allow yourself to unravel, to experience, to express, to realize the power that you have within you, and take that access of consciousness that you acquired from that exercise today, and Be with it, stay with it, float with it, expand with it. And I am your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master Sun Quinn. And I will see you on the next one, guys.